This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm April.
And this is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And anything else that gets in the mix.
So this is April's month.
It is finally. It only happens once a year for 30 days.
Well, I mean, I don't get like a Sarah month. I guess
that's
Christmas
your fault.
It's technically Sarah month.
That's your fault.
Well, you know, my name isn't named after a month, so I don't get
You're
that
a
luxury.
princess, and I just open.
But get prepared for some doozies of some movies.
Yep.
The things I shelter these people from throughout the whole year is now going to rain upon us.
Excuse you. I have excellent taste.
I mean, a lot of people like this movie. So,
And you thought that you were one of them because you thought it was something else.
oh, I didn't say I liked the movie. I said, oh, I think I've seen it because I thought it was Rushmore is what I was picturing in my head, which, to be fair, it's directed by the same person and has a lot of same people in it. I just had the wrong movie. So we are doing the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you run this. So you tell us what it's about because I have no clue.
Okay. So basically, Royal and his wife married. They bought a house on Archer Avenue. This kind of takes place kind of like in Brooklyn. Like for me, I lived there, so it just feels like Park Slope, and like the Park Slope Cemetery, the Park Slope Park, but whatever. I have never actually looked up to see specifically the areas.
They said it's supposed to be like Manhattan, but they're not letting you see what's around it. Like they're specifically making it seem like it's not in New York, but it's in New York, if that makes sense.
Manhattan is the island, though. I think this is one of the boroughs.
Well, I looked it up and it said that they specifically didn't show you like locations and stuff, but they were wanting it to feel like Manhattan. But it didn't. So
No, I felt it.
really?
Yeah, no, that's it felt like Brooklyn for me. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like Park Slope. And especially like the little taxi, the gypsy taxis, like I feel that because like in New York, anything goes. Like, now it's different because you have Uber. Yeah. But I remember back in the day, like I would call a car service. That's what you would call it. Basically the Ubers back then, where you would call and some dude would just come pick you up in his car. Really, it was the original Uber, and it was just the car service. They had little business cards.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you would kind of just like hail.
Yeah.
And a random car would stop, you know?
Yeah.
And then they would give you a business card to prove, hey, I'm legit, you know? I'm not just some stranger picking you up. And in the inside, they would have like, you know, like now thinking about it, it does sound kind of like dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
But like they looked legit. Anyways, I never got kidnapped, so that's good. So basically, Royal gets married, has 2 sons, and then adopts a 2-year-old girl. The children are Chase, who's the oldest, who is a financial wizard. Basically, I love, I guess, the mom, since she was very encouraging and allowed the children to pursue their interests.
Yeah.
The next born was Richie, who ended up being a tennis child prodigy who did his first Open at 17 and unfortunately burnt out at 26, but he still did have a few good years left in him.
Yeah.
And then the adoptive daughter, which Royal always introduces her as, this is Margot. my adoptive daughter. She is a playwright. She wrote her first play, I believe, at 9. And she also burnt out. Like she burnt out. Yes.
Yeah.
With the firstborn, Chase, he was a financial wizard, and he remained so until, I guess he never really burnt out, but his wife did pass away in an accident 6 months ago, for which the 2 boys, his sons and dog, survived.
Yeah.
But now he's just paranoid.
Yes.
You know, he dresses all of them in the same colors. That way, in the event of an emergency, he can spot them faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's survival mode constantly. And their house across the street, Richie ends up becoming besties with a kid named Eli Chase, who I guess is kind of from a neglectful home.
Yeah.
Like, he basically spends his time 24/7 at the Tenenbaums' home, to the point where he kind of wishes he was a Tenenbaum himself. And so when you think about it, it's pretty amazing how this mother not only raised 3 geniuses, but also the neighbor kid.
Yeah.
Because he is an English professor who has written 2 successful novels. Like, that is, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So the mother is an archaeologist, and she finally kicked the father out, Royal, from the house. They were the kids were pre-tweens, anywhere between like 8 and 12 maybe at the time. They never really said what he did, but just the vibe we've gotten from the kind of person that he is, he's just so laid back and chill that he just doesn't care. So I can see that getting old.
Yeah.
Where he's just not he's not contributing anything to the marriage nor the raising of the children. He also was an attorney, and he must have been one of those like really stepping on the line, crossing the line, sometimes attorney, because his son ends up suing him successfully twice. Yeah, like apparently he stole like bonds from him because the kid was a minor. He had to sign paperwork for his business. So then he, I guess, embezzled money from the business. Anywho, he ends up living in a hotel. Like, I wish I could live in a hotel, but they lived in a hotel. And it turns out, like, when he was a young man, he traveling through India, he got stabbed, and their butler, Gupta, threw him on his back and took him to the hospital and saved his life. And ever since then, Gupta's kind of been like his little sidekick.
Yeah.
It also turns out that Gupta was the one that stabbed him, but like, that's another story for another day. Okay. Anywho, I just love this movie so much. And so then Royal is he hasn't spoken to any of his kids in at least 3 years. It's been 18 years since he's been kicked out of the house, and he hatches up this plan that he's dying and he wants to reconnect with his family. Also, he's gotten kicked out of the hotel because he doesn't have any money and he hasn't paid him forever, So yeah, he goes back home. Richie is the only kid that he ever really had a connection with. Don't know why. But Richie's the one that he would take with him on little outings, and he would leave the other 2 kids at home. Like, he took the kid to go play dice and make bets, to go visit grandma's headstone at the cemetery, and whatever else. And the other 2 kids were never invited.
Yeah. That's really strange.
Yeah.
So when the movie started, and they were introducing everybody, I was writing down their names, whatever, because I didn't know how many people would be involved. I thought it was going to be like a ton of people.
Yeah.
Since the way they were introducing them. And so I was writing it down, and I thought they had said that Margot was adopted and that they found out she had another brother, and I thought that was Richie. So I was very confused when Richie writes this letter to Eli and says that he's in love with his sister. And I was like, wait, that's his sister, right?
I know. That's why I was like, well, the first time you asked that, I didn't say anything because I just thought you were, because you had said you saw this movie, and that's like a really big plot point. Like, you do not forget that. So when you asked the first time, I thought you were just talking aloud, you know, like, you know how you talk to the TV, like, oh, that's his sister. And then you asked again, and I was like, girl, do you not know this? I'm like, yes, it's his sister, you know, like, and then later you're like, I have never seen this movie. And I was like, oh, that would explain why you kept asking dumb questions, because that's what it felt like. Like, duh, Sarah, remember.
Yeah, nope. Hadn't seen it.
Well, you've seen it now.
I had. And like when we first meet Chas,
Yeah.
I was like, he has OCD for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was like, oh, Chas has OCD for sure. And I don't understand. Is Margot, is she just super depressed because the dad always introduced her as their adopted daughter, or what is her problem?
I feel like she's always been a quiet and reserved child. And that doesn't mean that she hasn't ever been happy. It's just that this is Royal's account of the circumstances.
Yeah.
So of course he doesn't remember her ever being happy because, you know, he's always a dick around her. So
True.
Obviously she has some kind of relationship with many people.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're only seeing her at her lowest point. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's one of those people that's out there like laughing and giggling at life, because she still seems like a serious person, but she's definitely not depressed all the time.
And kudos to us picking a movie that has Gwyneth Paltrow in it after her big win in court.
Oh, she won?
Yeah, she won $1. And the guy
her.
has to pay all of her legal fees. So
I thought that was weird that she was being sued because he hit her.
well, he claims that she ran into him. So apparently on the mountain, if you are in the lead, you are not responsible. I don't know exactly how it works, but if you get close to somebody else and you hit them, it's not their fault. They were ahead of you. And he said that she ran into him. So I assumed one was coming from one way and one was coming from another, but apparently that was not the case. So I don't know. I just think it's super weird.
Yeah, I only saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I will say though that first outfit she wore, oh my God, she got torn up. She was like, what do I wear to a trial for a ski accident?
Yeah.
A white fluffy sweater and aviator glasses.
Yes.
Like, she dressed the part.
Well, the other lawyer for the other team, she loved all of her outfits and wanted to be best friends with her, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, but yeah.
Now, the weird part is that Richie's his favorite, and I wonder why that is. Is it because he doesn't understand Chas and his whole OCD? Like,
Well,
I think that's the reason why he favors Richie, and then the girl is not his. I'm
he's
assuming.
very clear about that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's why he favors Richie.
I think Richie is
Laid back.
Yeah, because Chas, you saw he had all these financial books. So if he's not busy making money, he's reading about how to make money.
Yeah.
Like, he probably figured, I'm not going to bother the kid. He's not going to want to go anyways. He's always money, money, money. Time is money type crap.
Yeah.
So, and then of course later on the lawsuits, but I guess Richie was the easiest one because Margot, you could see that she wasn't very approachable.
No. Not even in her relationships was she really approachable.
And then, I could see it as her being a girl. Like, you saw the ice cream shop he took her to. He took her to this fancy ice cream shop. And it's just like, okay, like you're about, 15, 20 years too late for that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like,
Not that my father ever took me to the ice cream shop. No way. I guess technically he did. Yeah, we went to Brahms and
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's never taken me to an only ice cream shop before.
Well, nothing really happens in this movie.
What do you mean? It's a family coming together. I love this movie so much. And the fashion and just the coloring of it.
Okay, so when is this set? Or is this supposed to be just like it could happen at any time?
It could happen at any time.
Because I was like, okay, is it the 70s? Is it the 80s?
That's the thing. They are so secure in who they are. They will wear what they want and what they feel comfortable and what they like. That's what I love. I see people on TikTok that are in the 70s mode. And I was like, wow, that's so cute. Yeah. There are people out there that have style.
Yeah.
And love whatever style they love and they embrace it.
Well, that's fine. I just like the coloring of the film itself lends me to think it was supposed to be trying to look like it's set. They never really say.
They don't have to.
I think they're just supposed to be like, this is how you would see your family at any stage of time. I don't have a lot to say about this movie.
What are your thoughts? Tell me as the film developed and you realized I've never seen this.
I was like, what the fuck is this movie about? Just okay, so my main issue, and this is just as someone who knows the characters in real life. I don't know them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I know who they are.
Familiar with their previous works.
Yes.
Or future works.
So
in this case.
when ever in the history of a movie did you have people who are real life brother and sister and they don't play brother and sister, yet they have them play best friends and they look very similar? Why didn't they just have the two of them as the brothers in this movie? Why Ben Stiller as the brother and not as the best friend? It drove me crazy because the two of them look so similar and then you put them next to each other And I was just like, they're the brothers.
Because Eli had some of the best scenes and best storylines and pretty kick-ass costumes.
Oh, no, I agree with that. Just why have Owen and Luke Wilson?
Well, first of all, Owen co-wrote the movie. So he probably wrote Eli for himself.
And then he was like, well, let's have my brother play my best friend. That bothered me the whole entire time. And
maybe that's why Richie's look was so different.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't see too much similarity.
I mean, at first, yes. When he had the beard and the glasses and the long hair, it was harder to tell that they were brothers. Obviously, I knew because I know them. But when he cut it off and they were standing profile, I was like, they look identical.
No, they didn't.
Like,
no, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. See, I'm not looking at those things. I'm looking at, I really love that. Like, I love how the profile with the sunlight coming through. Like, I really loved that.
Yeah, I was like, they look like the same person from the profile. Except Owen's a little shorter.
And he has a broken nose.
That too. But from the profile, you really can't tell.
Yeah, you can tell. I told.
My other thing that I thought was, how many movies has Owen Wilson played a cowboy? Like dressed up as a cowboy.
It's his thing. He loves it.
It really is. And for some reason, for years, I have always thought he played the cowboy in Indian in the Cupboard.
What?
Okay, hear me out. So I've seen the museum movie. I can't think of what it's called.
Nightmare at the Museum. Wait, Nightmare? A Night at the Museum.
Yeah, Night at the Museum. And he plays a tiny cowboy, right?
Yep.
So I guess in my head, he has then replaced the character of the cowboy in Indian in the Cupboard. And so I was like, how many times has he played a tiny cowboy? And so I went and looked it up and I was like, oh, it doesn't show Indian in the Cupboard. And so then I had to go look that up and it's a completely different person. I was a little sad about that. But I do know in that movie, he plays a cowboy. He dresses like a cowboy here. I want to say in one of the Zoolanders, I think he kind of dresses as a cowboy.
Oh my God, I love Zoolander. You know Justin Bieber's in the second one, right?
Oh, no. I don't think I've ever seen the second one.
We'll save that for we'll save it for September.
Okay.
For Fashion Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that I had to look up because I was distracted by his cowboy outfit.
I loved it. It reminded me a little Nas.
Yeah. I mean, he plays a good cowboy.
He does. It just made me want to like have style this film and like be stylish.
Is Margot's look your favorite?
Oh, I love her look. Oh my gosh. Fur coat. Yes. Mm-hmm. The only problem is I'm in Texas and she like wears it like on the regular.
Hey, my aunt wears a fur coat a lot and she's in Texas.
Yeah. I think I might dye my hair black again. Resurrect my emo phase. You know that there's this chick I'm following. Well, not following her because I don't like following people on TikTok. That she makes videos. She gets millions and millions of views, but it's like a flashback to like the 2000s and what she wore. And one of them is so funny because she's like reacting to this video where this girl's like, oh my gosh, you see this dress? You see how cute it is? Well, now put on this belt and it completely changes the outfit and it makes the dress so much better. And then you see next to it the girl that's still in her like 2000s outfit with the belt and she's just looking at the other girl like she's never stopped wearing it. I'm like, where did she keep all of her old clothes, or is she going to the thrift shop?
I thought it was really funny. We had decided before this movie, we were trying to figure out which movie we wanted to watch. And we were either going to watch this one or Yesterday, which is about the Beatles. And the very first song that plays is Hey Jude. And I thought that's so funny because we were just going to watch a Beatles movie.
Yeah. Yesterday was my birthday movie. Like, we always go to the movies for my birthday, and that was my birthday movie. Also, all of the Purges have been my birthday movie too. I usually have to wait a few days because it's a 4th of July movie, but that's okay.
Let's see here. I had no idea what the Valkyrie had to do with this movie. But they have a bird. He releases the bird. And then 22 years later, maybe the bird shows back up. And then the dad shoots Cash with a BB gun.
Yeah. So first off, Cash, because Chase, right? No.
Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, Chase, because he is such a financial wizard at such a young age, he helped negotiate his dad to buy a summer house. And so while they're at the summer house, the kids are all playing with BB guns, I guess, instead of paintball guns, and they're fighting against each other. And the dad is on the roof and he could see everything. And yeah, he decides to shoot his teammate, which is his son.
And he tells him, no one's on a team. You can't trust anybody.
That's a good life lesson.
Except you don't shoot your children.
I mean, it depends.
Like, okay, you can't 100%, not everybody dies from a BB gun, but some do die from a BB gun. You don't shoot at people. Like, as a rule, you shouldn't shoot at people. And to shoot at your child, like, I'm sure every parent every once in a while is like, I wish I could just punch you in the face. But they don't actually punch their child in the face.
Not good parents.
Yeah, so I could see where you'd be like, if I just hit him with this BB gun,
everything would be better.
I would feel better. But you don't do it, So that was a little surprising. And he still has the BB gun in his the bullet.
It depends. Let's substitute BB gun for a paintball gun.
Still hurts, but I would at least accept it a little bit more than the BB gun.
See, okay, so we had a BB gun growing up. My dad never really interacted with us with the BB gun, so he's not the example I'm going for. However, when we were really young, I remember my dad's friends lived with us, right? And I remember they were our playmates. So when we were playing with the BB guns, they were the ones, I guess, watching us.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, they weren't very responsible with us. My dad's friends, they taught us how to play with matches. I have very distinct memories, I would go to the store with them. They would let me buy whatever I wanted. I would go to their rooms and hang out, and they would just be sitting there drinking and I would be just playing with my toys. Remember, okay, so those guns that have the little snappers, the little rolls?
Yeah.
And then you would basically snap it by hitting it. They taught me how to pop those with your fingernails. And it hurt. They're the ones who taught me to lick the batteries so that it would burn. You know, like they taught me a lot of like, it's not bad, but like, you know what I mean? Like they, so I could see if we had, like, I remember one time we were playing with the BB guns and like in the backyard, and I guess the neighbor called the police, right? I remember it was me, my younger brother, and one of my dad's friends. We were just in the backyard, and I guess we were playing irresponsibly, and the cops showed up. And I remember my dad's friend, he just like ran inside as soon as the cops showed up. And then the cops are like, "Are your mom and dad home?" And I was like, "Yes." So I went inside and I got my mom, and she came out, you know. And like nothing happened, but like, yeah, the cops showed up and he took off. Okay. So I feel that if we had paintball guns, my dad's friends would have played with us, and I can definitely see them shooting us, you know? So we only had one BB gun. Things might have been different if we had 2 BB guns or 3. But I could see that happening in some family situations.
So we had this thing that basically it was, oh God, what is that called? Lightsaber.
Yeah, a lightsaber.
No, not lightsaber. You know, you go to
sword?
You go to a place and you can shoot people with a laser.
Laser tag.
Laser tag. Thank you. Jesus Christ. So we had like this home version of laser tag. And so you'd put on this little piece, and then each person would have a gun. So only 2 people can play. And we would play in the basement. And that was our version of a BB gun. But it was a laser tag. It was a lot of fun. We would do it in the dark.
Cool. What was it? A few years ago, they had this like interactive experience for Star Wars where you're pretending you like snuck into a base and you're in costume as a stormtrooper because you're trying.
Fun.
Yeah. And so then it was me, Jen, and the kids, right? And there was a point where we come into like this, we're wearing like laser tag stuff, and we're wearing like an RV thing. So obviously like we're just in a blank room, but it looks like we're somewhere. And all of a sudden we're supposed to storm into this room and kill all the stormtroopers, right? We have colors on our stormtrooper outfits so that we know who we are. Yeah. And all the enemy stormtroopers are just plain white. Well, me and Jen are out there like trying to save our comrades when all of a sudden one of the kids starts shooting at us, and we're like, what the hell? And then the other one starts helping him, and then he's like, everyone for himself. And dude, these kids were like 10 at the time, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so then we got killed by our own teammates.
Did you say, okay, thanks, Mr. Tenenbaum?
I didn't even think of that. And so of course we turn around and start shooting them. And
well, yeah.
In the end, because it's already a pre-made game, we still saved the day. But
of course.
But that's not what it would have happened. We would have been dead. We were betrayed.
By your own comrades.
Yep. So yeah, kids are evil, and they grow up to be adults, and I bet you they would shoot their kids. There you go. When you know what? When these kids grow up, when Marco grows up, I'm going to get his kids BB guns or paintball guns, and I'm going to see what happens.
There you go.
It's an experiment.
So one thing that was weird, I mean, there was so many things that was weird.
Nothing was weird. It made absolute perfect sense.
I read that it's supposed to represent like the 4 seasons, right?
Uh-huh.
And at one point, Dudley, is that his son?
No.
Oh, it's just a kid he hangs out with a lot?
No, it's his case study.
Well, I understood that part, but they're always together.
I'm sure the parents are just happy to get him out of the house.
I guess. So he's wearing shorts and a short shirt, right? Mm-hmm. And Riley,
Yeah.
he's in like a suit jacket, and then the mom and Margot are leaving his place, and she's in her big jacket, and she's in a jacket, and a Christmas song is playing. So I'm like, is it Christmas time? But there's no like Christmas decorations. It's supposed to be the East Coast. There's no snow. It's not cold. And then later in the movie, the song plays again. And I was like, what are we watching? What time frame is this?
So I think it's because you only hear that Peanut song around Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's why you're thinking Christmas.
Well, that's because it's set. The words are Christmas time is here. I mean, that's the words to the song.
I've heard that little tune without the words. And to be honest with you, when you said that, I completely forgot those were the words. I was like, oh, I guess it is a Christmas song.
Yeah.
I've heard that tune more as a tune than a song.
Weird.
So I guess I don't really think of it as Christmas.
Yeah.
Because I don't hear the words as often as I hear the tune. And I usually hear the tune as a like a calming, sad time. Mm-hmm. So I don't think of it that way. But you have to remember that you and I are very different people who are exposed to very different things. So I did not think Christmas when I heard that song. I just thought of sad, mopey Charlie Brown. Like, oh, you know how he's so depressed? Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just, like, I've seen all of the Peanut movies, but I don't see them every year. Like, even when I was a kid, younger, like, I've seen it once. It's not a tradition. I don't have traditions like that, you know? So then I don't equate that, you know?
Yeah. Hold on one second. I'm gonna let her out. Would you consider this movie a comedy?
Yes.
Because I didn't laugh very much.
You don't have to laugh for you to find the humor in the movie.
I feel like I do when it's a comedy.
But it was humorous.
I chuckled a few times. You chuckled more than I did.
Because I found it humorous.
Yeah. Maybe it's just one of those smart humor things that, you know, you have to.
I just vibe with this movie so much. I love it so much.
Like, I guess I don't have the family experience. Like, my family's crazy, but they're not like this crazy, you know? And for Angelica Houston, I feel like her character, they did a disservice because she just kind of was like, not on the outskirts, but she didn't seem like a normal mom to me. Like, I don't know.
Again, so in my family, I feel like Our parents were not that involved in us.
Yeah.
They just seriously were not. Like, my mother was doing her thing, my father was doing his thing, and me and my brother were doing our own thing. In that sense, I feel like we were very independent. Mm-hmm. Like, even with my brother and I would fight, like be fighting to the death on the floor. My mother would tell us to stop fighting. She wouldn't break us up. Or B, shut the door on us because we were bothering her.
Yeah.
You know, luckily we didn't kill each other, and we literally had to just figure it out on our own. Mm-hmm. We were never punished or put in timeout.
Really?
No, because first of all, we weren't bad kids, you know, so we weren't, well, my brother was, but it's not like we were ever doing anything that would warrant that, because we were very independent. Like, I would be in my room doing my thing. My brother would be in his room doing his thing. And so, I mean, obviously we would fight, but, you know, in the end, we would just end up in our own rooms doing our own thing. So we were never punished in that sense. So I can see how they developed their own identity. So I don't think she was a bad mother. But then again, I had that type of mother.
Yeah.
You know,
like I don't think she's a bad mom. I just feel like she wasn't a mom I'm used to. You know, not saying that my mom was up our ass, because she wasn't. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know. Like, we were the house that the friends would stay over, but my parents were involved. You know, my dad would make us breakfast, and we would all sit downstairs and watch movies, and then my parents would leave, and then we could have like girl time and chat about boys or whatever. And if I was punished, I was sent to my room. Like, that was a punishment. I didn't get to hang out with everybody. So we're just a little different than your family. So maybe that's why you resonate with this movie so much. And I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah, no. My brother didn't have sleepovers, but I did. Mm-hmm. And again, like, we were left to our own device. And well, I don't think I've ever had anyone spend the night at my house with my parents there.
Really?
Because again, remember, they, like, when I was a teenager, they kind of just left. So
they were on that 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
On Gilligan's Island and gone forever.
But I guess once I was an adult and my friend Ira would come spend the night, again, my mom was just like in her room. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that's it. Like, she would read, watch TV. Like we each had a TV in our own room. Mm-hmm. So there was no need for us to get together and watch TV together.
Well, see, like, each of us had our own TV, but we would still all hang out in the living room and watch stuff together.
No.
Like,
sometimes we may be watching the same thing mm-hmm. in our own room and shouting at each other.
Really?
Or talk to each other during the commercials. But that was few and far between that we would be watching the same thing. But we weren't in the same room.
I guess my family is just a weird, close-knit family. Because we would sit, like, Saturday nights, my mom would watch Snick with me. And then on Sundays, when she was washing clothes downstairs, we would just sit there and watch Lifetime movies because they were always on.
Seriously? That was a thing way back then?
Yeah. Well, but it wasn't like Christmas movies. They were like mystery movies. So
okay,
we
hold
would sit there.
On. Did Lifetime Channel exist back then?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought this was like a new development, like IDTV.
No. So like Lifetime would have all these like whodunit movies, and we would just sit there and watch them all day while she washed clothes.
See, we didn't grow up with cable, so when we would watch TV, like on the weekends, it would just be a bunch of reruns. So that's why I guess I love like old shows. But if not, like I was a reader. Like I loved reading, or I would go out and hang out with my friends, and I would always have to take my brother with me, you know?
See, my parents didn't do that. They didn't make my sister take me anywhere except for to school. Because we're 5 years apart. So when you're in high school, well, I was just going to say when she was, like a junior in high school, I was in 7th grade.
Exactly.
So they didn't make her take me anywhere.
Well, when you're Hispanic, they do. Okay. I would take June and Sandra would take Jeanette, and then we would make them hang out with each other. I remember one time they were at my house and we forced June and Jeanette in one room, and he was playing his video games, and like Jeanette came out. She's like, he's not sharing with me. He won't let me play. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, didn't have to do that. Every once in a while she would take me out and about, but we hang out more now than we did then.
No, I had to take the kid with me everywhere. So, but yeah, like I get that parenting because that's the parenting I had.
Well, that makes sense why you like this movie.
Yeah.
So anything else about this movie?
I love it so much.
Like, I hate to crap on a movie that you love so much, and I just didn't get it. Like, I don't have really negative things to say,
It
but
just didn't do it for you.
I also don't have positive things to say. I wanted to like it. It has a lot of good people in it. Ben Stiller, Owen, Luke Wilson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelica Houston, Gene
Hackman,
thank you. Danny Glover or Donald Glover. It has a lot of people in it, and I just didn't get it. Like I wanted to get it. I also feel like this is kind of how I felt about Rushmore. I don't know. In my mind, and it may not be Rushmore, there's a movie where it's about a family, and at one point they're all like in the yard outside of their giant house. And that's what I was picturing when you were talking about this movie. But now I don't know what movie that is. But I'm sure at some point we'll cross it and I'll be like, oh, this is the movie I thought. But, well, April, the last thing we need to do is rate this movie. What would you rate it?
A 10 out of 10. I loved the house. Wow. They each got their own floor and made it their own.
Wow. That's fancy. I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 10. I know.
Blasphemy.
It just didn't do it for me. I wanted it to do it for me. I was ready to laugh. Like I was excited to watch a comedy.
So you gave it a 3.
Yeah.
What are 3 things you can say you liked about this movie?
Okay. I liked the styling. I liked Ben's neuroses, but I feel like I wish we had gotten a little bit more of it. And I like the interaction. I like the dad. I thought he was entertaining.
The most lively of the bunch.
Yeah. I just wanted more.
I felt it was just right. And I didn't realize until we stopped to talk about my own childhood, that like, yeah, I had absentee parents in my household. So, yeah.
Well,
But I got to have my own identity, my own personality. I'm not a poser.
Are you saying I'm a poser?
No. But your ideals have been strongly shaped by your family unit.
True.
Whereas my ideals come from independent thought.
True.
Not that that's bad.
I'd also say some of mine came from growing up in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. As a military kid.
Definitely. And my Hispanic roots definitely added to that.
Yeah.
But that's also where a disconnect comes from.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm Hispanic, I didn't.
Do you identify as a...
Well, like I grew up with the culture, but I wasn't
enamored,
embedded in the culture.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger and still influenced by my family, I would watch novellas. I would listen to Spanish music.
Yeah.
But then as I became a teenager, I found my own favorite shows and my own favorite music.
Yeah.
So now I don't watch Spanish television. I don't listen to Spanish music. It's not what I enjoy. We don't have the normal, traditional Hispanic, I guess, values.
Yeah.
Because, like I know what those, they're all big about family.
Yes.
And I love my family, but we don't do the stuff like, they get together, they have birthday parties and they get together and they do this and that. We don't do that,
I guess that's why you've been adopted by all your friends' families that do that stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I feel like in some sort of way, I've been adopted by them as well. I've been allowed to come to some of them.
Yeah, same. Like I go to all of my friends' events and it's not that I don't invite them to my events, but we don't have events.
Yeah.
There's nothing to invite you to.
Well,
I would have to organize it.
I think this has been a great therapy session. Mm-hmm. If people want to hear more about therapy and our choices, where can they find us?
Two Chicks Talkin Flicks over on Instagram.
You can find us at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks on Facebook.
Guess what? We have a TikTok, Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And if you want to email us your private thoughts, you can send it to twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Well, until next time.
Toodles.
Bye. This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Music was produced by Michael Girvani. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.